Most millionaires don't run exciting businesses. They run businesses so boring you'd walk past them every day and never look twice. And some of these businesses are pulling in more than $50,000 a month while the owner is asleep, phone on silent, doing absolutely nothing. Today, I'm going to show you 20 of them. Stick around for the last one. It's the one that ties every single business on this list together, and it's the one most people completely ignore. You probably know someone like this. They never talk about money. They don't post it, they don't flex it. But whenever they need it, it's there. They're 50, maybe 60. They're not stressed. They travel when they want to. They owe nobody anything. Their secret usually isn't some genius startup. It's a business that sounds almost embarrassingly ordinary. I went through the businesses with the highest survival rates in this country and pulled together 20 that almost nobody talks about. A few of these are going to make you a little uncomfortable because you've probably been looking at them as jobs instead of businesses, and that mindset alone is costing you money. If you only remember one from this whole list, make it the last one. It's the most counterintuitive, and it's the one that builds the most long-term wealth. Let's get into it. Here's a stat that'll change how you see this business immediately. Laundromats have one of the highest 5-year survival rates of almost any small business in the country, well above 90%. Compare that to the general average, where close to half of all businesses shut down in that same window. The laundromat industry pulls in billions annually in the U.S., and a well-run location can clear well over $300,000 a year with margins near 50%. Most of the customer base is repeat business, week after week, without you lifting a finger to convince them. Clothes get dirty on their own. You never have to sell anyone on that. This industry has blown past $15 billion a year. A single automated location can generate somewhere between $150,000 and $200,000 in profit annually. And once it's built, it basically runs itself. People want a clean car. They just don't want to be the one washing it. One entrepreneur who started with a single car wash scaled that into millions in annual revenue with strong margins. Not by reinventing the wash, but by standardizing the process and repeating it. No disruption, just consistent execution. Most locations now run on membership pricing, a flat monthly fee for unlimited washes, which gives the owner predictable income every month, no matter the weather. One of the easiest entries on this list. You can start with well under $10,000. A single machine can generate roughly $30,000 a year with margins around 30%. The interesting part is what happens at scale. Some operators clear well into 6 figures a year, while only actively working a couple of days a week, simply because they're running 30 or 40 machines across strategic spots instead of one. All you're really doing is negotiating placement, a gym, a hotel, an office lobby, stocking the machine, and collecting. No staff, no office, no experience required. There's also a specialty angle almost nobody talks about: beauty product machines in salons, bait machines near fishing spots, electronics machines in airports. The more specific the niche, the thinner the competition and the fatter the margin. Waste management, a company that literally hauls trash for a living, pulls in over $20 billion a year. Contracts renew on their own. Trash never stops existing. You're not trying to compete with a giant like that, but you can absolutely start with a truck, a few bins, and a local junk removal service. Some independent operators are billing well into 7 figures a year running this exact model. Someone else's garbage is quite literally your income. You can start this one for under $5,000, a solid pressure washer, a truck, and some business cards. Jobs typically run $200 to $500, driveways, patios, house exteriors. What makes it special is the seasonal rhythm. Customers call you back every year without being asked, and the neighborhood effect. Clean one driveway on a street, and the neighbors notice. You don't need to advertise. The work does it for you. The self-storage industry generates well over $45 billion a year in the U.S., and roughly 1 in 10 American households rent a unit. Average net margins sit around 40%. Here's a wild fact. There are more self-storage facilities in this country than McDonald's and Starbucks locations combined, and the majority are still run by independent owners, not massive chains. There's still room to get in. What really stands out is the customer behavior. The average renter pays over $100 a month and sticks around for well over a year. Some people forget what's even in the unit and just keep paying. That's about as recurring revenue gets. This industry is worth close to $30 billion in the U.S. and climbing. There are tens of thousands of companies, and most of them are small, local, run by one or two people. The magic is in the recurring contracts. The large majority of residential revenue in this space comes from ongoing service agreements, meaning the customer pays automatically month after month without you ever having to resell them. And pests, like trash, never stop showing up. Drive through any American suburb, and you'll see trucks hauling trailers full of mowers. It works because it's monthly, recurring, and the barrier to entry is genuinely low. A commercial mower, a blower, and a willingness to work. The problem is most people in this space are stuck thinking like employees instead of owners. The gap between making $40,000 a year mowing lawns yourself and making $200,000 comes down to one shift. Systematize the work, hire people to do it, and stop being the one holding the mower. Make that shift, and a lawn care side gig turns into a landscaping company worth $500,000. Not houses, offices, medical buildings, schools. A single contract with one office building can pay you somewhere between $3,000 and $10,000 a month, and once it's signed, it tends to renew year after year without any extra selling. A lot of people already have the hands-on experience for this. What's missing is the shift from charging by the hour like an employee to charging by the contract like an owner. That mental shift alone can triple your income doing the exact same work. Especially valuable in places like Florida, Texas, Arizona, or California. There are millions of residential pools in the country, and most owners have zero interest in cleaning them themselves. A tech with around 40 regular clients can earn $80,000 to $120,000 a year, often working half-days. It's route-based, show up, clean, collect, move to the next house, and it pays year-round, not just in summer, because pools need upkeep whether or not anyone's swimming in them. Think of it as a car wash that comes to you. A full detail runs $150 to $400, and you can realistically fit 3 or 4 in a day. That's $450 to $1,600 daily with very low overhead. All you need is a van stocked with supplies. No storefront, no rent, no permits. Do great work, and customers refer you without being asked. The global scrap recycling market is on track to reach hundreds of billions of dollars within the next several years, and the opportunity exists right in your own city today. You can start simply as a middleman, collecting scrap from construction sites, remodels, and factories, then selling it to recycling plants. There's a concept in this space, sometimes called urban, or because electronic waste is loaded with valuable metals like gold, silver, and copper. What people throw away, you turn into cash. Sounds strange, but a single ice vending machine can generate over $40,000 a year, running 24/7 with no employees. The machine typically costs somewhere in the $30,000 to $35,000 range and pays for itself within a year to a year and a half. These do especially well in warmer climates and near campgrounds and RV parks. You're producing frozen water and selling it. That's simple, that boring, that profitable. An ATM can be bought for somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000. Place it in a busy local business, a convenience store, a bar, a gas station, and charge a few dollars per transaction. A well-placed unit can bring in $500 to $1,500 a month. One machine won't change your life, but 10 or 15 turns into serious, almost entirely passive income. All you're doing is refilling cash and collecting fees. Nobody wants to talk about this one, but every construction site, every festival, every outdoor event needs restrooms, and somebody has to supply them. A unit typically costs $500 to $1,000 and rents out for $75 to $175 a day. An operator running 50 units can easily land in six-figure annual revenue. Not glamorous, very profitable. Before you laugh, there are tens of millions of dog-owning households in this country, and most of those owners really don't want to clean up the yard themselves. Services typically charge $15 to $25 per weekly visit. 50 clients at $20 a week is $4,000 a month, nearly $50,000 a year. Get to 100 clients, and you're closing in on $100,000. All you need to start is a bag, a scooper, and zero concern about looking cool. Every shopping center, strip mall, school, and church needs its parking lines painted and visible. In many states, it's a legal requirement, not optional. Basic equipment runs $3,000 to $5,000. A single job can pay $500 to $2,000 in a single afternoon, and competition is thin simply because most people don't even know this business exists. Washers, dryers, fridges, dishwashers. When they break, people need someone today, not next week, and they'll pay $100 to $400 for the visit, with replacement costs often running $1,500 to $3,000, and a repair costing a few hundred. The math sells itself. Demand never dries up because appliances always break. And with a lot of experienced technicians aging out of the trade and few young people stepping in, competition is actually shrinking year over year. Learn to fix 3 or 4 common appliances. Plenty of that knowledge is freely available, and you've got a business for life. One of the cheapest, easiest businesses on this entire list. Getting certified typically costs under $150 depending on the state. Once certified, you can charge $75 to $200 per signing, and specializing in mortgage closings can push that to $125 to $300 per appointment. A few signings a day, and you're clearing $500 to $1,200 daily. No inventory, no office, no employees, just you, a stamp, and paperwork. Here's an angle almost nobody mentions. If you speak more than one language, that's a real competitive edge. There are huge numbers of home buyers who specifically need a notary who speaks their language, and that opens up a market most notaries can't touch. This is the one I told you to remember. I saved it for last because it quietly combines everything that makes the other 19 businesses work: recurring income, low competition, constant demand, plus something most people completely overlook: convenience. We live in a moment where people happily pay extra to avoid doing things themselves. They pay for food delivery. They pay someone to walk the dog. Laundry is next, and in a lot of mid-sized cities, this service barely exists yet. You don't even need to own a laundromat. You can partner with one that already exists, run the pickup and delivery layer on top, and keep a margin of 30 to 40%. An operator with 100 recurring clients paying $30 to $50 a week is sitting on $12,000 to $20,000 a month. No storefront, no machines, just logistics and consistency. It's essentially taking something that already exists and layering value on top of it. In this case, the value is simply not having to do your own laundry. Stack it with business number 1, the laundromat itself, and you've got a model that generates recurring income without owning a single piece of equipment. You become the bridge between the customer and the laundromat, and you get paid for that connection. Now, before I keep going, I know what a lot of you are thinking because it's exactly what I used to think looking at lists like this. Sound great, but where do I even start? Simple answer: don't start with all 20. Pick one. The one that fits your area, your budget, and this part matters: what you're actually willing to do without feeling embarrassed about it. Because the truth is, most of these businesses require you to get your hands dirty, knock on doors, and do things that don't look impressive in a photo. And that's exactly what keeps the competition away and leaves the door wide open for you. When I first got into studying business, I wanted what everyone wants: the cool business, the one that sounds impressive at dinner. I wanted to say I run a tech company, not I own a laundromat. That mindset cost me years. While I was chasing the perfect idea, the people who are financially comfortable today were out there doing the boring stuff: buying the laundromat on the corner, dropping vending machines in gyms, striping parking lots on a Saturday morning. There's a line from research into everyday American millionaires that stuck with me for years. Most of them didn't inherit their money, and most of them don't work in glamorous industries. They own businesses that solve simple, everyday problems that never go away. Problems that don't need a booming economy to stay relevant, because people will always need clean clothes, pest-free homes, and someone to take out the trash. And here's something worth sitting with. Recent small business survey data shows the overwhelming majority of owners are projecting growth this year, the highest numbers ever recorded, with more than half already using AI tools to run leaner operations and most expecting revenue to climb. There's arguably never been a better window to start something. The tools exist. The demand exists. The only missing piece is you actually starting. And the irony? The businesses with the strongest growth outlook right now aren't in tech or social media. They're in services, the boring ones, solving real problems people need handled today. Let me make this real with two people. Marcus is 42. He works in construction, makes a solid $55,000 a year. Honest work, steady paycheck. He's wanted to start a business for 5 years and hasn't. Why? Every time he thinks about it, he compares himself to what he sees online. He wants the online store, the personal brand, the podcast, something that looks polished. Since none of those ideas ever feel ready, he does nothing. He keeps waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect idea, the perfect amount of capital. Meanwhile, he's spending a couple $100s a month on subscriptions he barely uses, a few hundred more eating out, and none of it is working for him outside his paycheck. Over 5 years, that adds up to well over $30,000 spent on things that generated exactly nothing. That same amount would have covered an automated car wash, a dozen vending machines, or the startup costs for 3 service businesses from this list. Jordan is the same age, also around $55,000 a year as a maintenance tech. But 3 years ago, Jordan did something Marcus never did. Bought a pressure washer for around $3,500, printed cheap business cards, and started knocking on doors offering to wash driveways and patios. The first month brought in about $800 extra. Jordan's hands shook every time a door opened, but he kept going. By month 3, it was $2,400. By month 6, a homeowners association contract handed him 20 houses at once. 3 years later, Jordan has 2 employees, a fully equipped truck, and bills well over $150,000 a year through the pressure washing business alone. On top of the day job, he's now seriously considering leaving. Jordan didn't have a perfect business plan, a professional logo, a slick website, a mentor, or an expensive course. He had a pressure washer, an old truck, and a willingness to do work most people are too proud to do. The difference between Marcus and Jordan isn't talent, luck, or education. It's that Jordan accepted something Marcus still hasn't. Boring businesses fund exciting lives. Marcus is still hunting for the perfect idea. Jordan already has 3 years of recurring clients, steady cash flow, and the peace of mind that comes from knowing if he lost his job tomorrow, his business would carry him. That, to me, is what real wealth actually looks like. It's not the number in the account. It's the absence of fear. Knowing that no matter what happens, a layoff, a recession, an emergency, you've got something of your own holding you up. I'm not telling you to go buy a laundromat tomorrow or quit your job to start hauling scrap metal. I'm telling you to open your eyes to what's already sitting around you. The businesses nobody brags about, the ones that never trend, the ones nobody's selling you a $2,000 course on. Out of the 20 I just walked through, several you can start for under $5,000. A few you could realistically start this weekend. And every single one of them shares the same core truth. They solve a problem that never goes away. Clothes get dirty. Cars get dirty. Pests come back. Trash piles up. Appliances break. Pools need cleaning. While most people keep waiting for the idea of the century, the person willing to get their hands dirty and start with what they already have is usually the one who ends up with the freedom everyone talks about wanting, but almost nobody's willing to actually build. Millions of small businesses in this country are run by a single person working for themselves, no partners, no investors, no permission needed. The question was never whether it's possible. The only real question is how much longer you're going to wait. If this changed how you think about even one of these businesses, drop a comment and tell me which one. If you know someone who's been stuck for years trying to figure out what to start, send them this video. It might be exactly what they need to hear. Hit like if you made it this far. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one.